Hello, everyone. So we are still in week 5 of reNEW 2018, where we're talking all about rest and stress management. And I just thought I'd hop on here and just share with you guys for a minute and be super transparent and vulnerable. So for those of you who don't know me personally, my husband was offered a job opportunity that he could not turn down back in October of 2017. So in November, he made the decision to move to California, and our entire family is transitioning there. And the kids and I were still living here in Arizona while the kids finish off their school year. My daughter is in college. She will stay there here in Arizona, and she comes home on the weekends to spend time with us. And then my 3 boys are home and finishing off the school year. So I am in the process of getting our house ready to sell. It's going live on the market February 15th. And last week, I found out that I had been summoned for jury duty and was possibly going to have to show up there this week and be on a case. So, of course, last week was a little crazy for me. I had this long to-do list of things that needed to be completed within a 2 to 3 week time frame, and I was aware of the fact that it might have to get done in 1 week. And there was no way of knowing until the 5th whether or not I was going to have to show up in court. So needless to say, all of my self-care things that I've been teaching you guys and talking about, up till this point, kind of went out the door. I had this list of to-do things and was laser focused on that, and I was getting out of bed and going straight to that, and it was just a matter of time that caught up to me, and I didn't even realize what I was doing. I was so focused on getting stuff done and being prepared for the what if I have to be in court that I just let things go. So sure enough, what happened was I ended up getting really sick. So Sunday afternoon, I felt it coming on, pressure in my sinuses. My head was super foggy. My body was achy, and I had 0 energy. My body was telling me it was time to rest. And so I realized it was time for me to put my oxygen mask back on, that I needed to take care of me before I could continue to finish what needed to be done, and also to continue serving in this group. So I just want to say thank you for your grace with me. I normally am posting way earlier in the day, and yesterday was late. Today again is late, but I needed to have grace with myself, and thank you guys for the grace that you're having for me. So with that being said, it is time to really dive into the stress management piece of this week. And I am excited to share with you guys some things that have worked well for me when it comes to this area, and some things that I still need to remind myself. Obviously, I just shared that with you. And so one of the things that I did starting out with like the to-do list, right? We have got things that we feel like we ought to do, or things that we feel like we should do that are either up in our head or on a list and can become very overwhelming to a point where we get stuck. And so I started about 2 years ago doing something called a good, better, best list, where I would take my list and I would highlight the things that were good, and then I would circle it if it was better, and then I'd put a star next to it if it was best. And I would focus on the best first. And for me, that worked. It was doable. It was manageable, and it kind of took away some of the stress. But then I started working on something called clearing the space, which is what I do now, and I absolutely love it. So first, you become mindful of the things that cause stress or tension in your life, and it could look different for all of us. So things like, for me, having a messy garage, an unorganized garage, was very frustrating for me. So when we pull our car into the garage, the kids would unload their sports gear, their backpacks, maybe even some clothing items, whatever, and just kind of dump it in the garage. So for me, seeing that mess would cause stress every time I drove into the garage. It was a trigger for me. And when I recognized that it was a trigger for me, I knew that it needed to be something on my list to clear that space, so that when I drive into my garage, I'm not feeling that trigger. Instead, I'm like, I'm home, you know, so that was something that needed to be cleared. For you, maybe it's a unorganized playroom, a closet, a pantry, a refrigerator that needs to be cleaned out, something that you feel is a trigger for you that's like, oh, I need to get that done, right? So that would be something that you would want to put on your list. So first you start out with making a list of all the shoulds and ought tos and the things that trigger you. And then you start putting them into categories. Is this something that I do need to get done? And if so, you pick a completion date. Or is it something that I could delegate? Maybe it's something that needs to get done, but I don't enjoy it. It doesn't bring me joy. It doesn't bring me pleasure. Could I have somebody else do this for me? Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's something that you need to hire some help for, but can you delegate it? And then there's those things that you just decide, you know what, it's really not that important, and you be okay with just letting that thing go. But it helps you clear space so that you feel less stress and less tension. Sometimes putting it down on a piece of paper, really looking at it and deciding, you know, what's important to you and how are you going to clear it will help eliminate some of those things that cause us stress in our daily life. Stress affects our health. It affects our ability to lose weight. It affects our sleep. It affects our mood and the way that we respond to others. So managing stress is really, really important. And this is just one of those first steps, something that you can do. Excuse me, let me get some tea. So I am going to be posting it. File that will help you kind of write these things down. And I just wanted to share with you an example of something that you can delegate. So for me, I love cooking and planning meals, but I do not enjoy shopping. It's not something that brings me joy or pleasure. For me, going grocery shopping is kind of a daunting task. I just don't enjoy it. It takes time and effort, and that was something that I recognized that I could delegate because the grocery store near me offers a pickup service. So I simply go online, I choose what I want, and I do pay a small fee, but I can tell you that I've actually saved money doing things this way because I'm not getting distracted by things that are not on my list but on sale. I used to throw a lot of stuff in my cart that I didn't need. And so I'm actually saving money, even though there is a $5 fee. So I get to go in and click on what I want, choose my pickup time, pay online, pull up to the grocery store, call and let them know that I'm there. They bring it out to my car. I come home, and the boys unload it for me. It is beautiful. So grocery shopping for me now is not a daunting task. It is something that has saved me a ton of time. I've cleared that space where I have an hour and a half-ish is what shopping used to take me from the time I left my house to the time I put it away. And I get to use that time now on the things that bring me joy and pleasure. So that's just an example of something that you could do. So I want you to be super mindful and be thinking about what it is that is on your mind that stresses you out, things that you should do or ought to do, and that you want to just clear right out and start eliminating things that trigger stress in your life. So that post is coming soon, and I just wanted to share this with you guys, and then I will share more about some of the products that help support stress management before we dive into emotional balance next week. All right, guys, talk to you soon.